While other gods' shrines are magnificent, yours is a bit too humbling. And yet a little girl visits you every year after stumbling upon it, never missing a year even as she grows old. Deeply moved, you decide to give her a parting gift greater than what any other god would dare to give. It wasn't much of a shrine really. More like a mistake someone forgot to clean up, a toppled stone, a clump of moss, a flower that bloomed too early and just stayed. The others had gold, marble, columns so tall they made you feel small before you even got inside, which was probably the point. Me, I had, well, dirt and one loyal visitor. She was small when she first stumbled in, hair wild and clothes half-tucked like she'd wrestled a tornado and lost. She looked at the stone, my stone, and said, "Ha, that's weird." Then she sat down right there in the mud and started talking to me. The god of, well, that's complicated. Not something grand like thunder or love or, I don't know, cheese. Cheese is big. People love cheese. No, I was the god of small forgotten things. Buttons and gutters. The last sip of tea. Shrines no one visits. Except her. Every year she came back. Not with gold or incense or whatever the fancy gods demanded. Just her. Sitting. Talking. Telling me about school, her parents fighting, how her brother put a frog in her shoe, how she put the frog in his bed, how she didn't even feel bad about it. I liked that one. Feisty. She didn't ask for anything. Never prayed. Never begged. Just talked like we were old friends. And I listened. Years passed. She grew up. The wild hair got tamer, the clothes more put together. But she always came back. Always sat in the mud, even when she was wearing something too nice for mud. "You're the only one who gets it," she said once, leaning back against my stone. "You don't try to fix me. You just listen." And oh, did I listen. To everything. Her first love, some guy named Marco, didn't like him, too smug. Her first heartbreak, Marco again, predictable. Her first job, terrible boss, good coffee. I listened as her visits grew longer apart, but she always came back. Always. Then one day she showed up different. Older. Frielier. A cane tapping against the stone as she lowered herself down. She sat there, breathing heavy, and said, "Well, old friend. This might be it." I felt the panic before I could stop it. Gods aren't supposed to panic. We're supposed to be all-knowing, all-powerful. But all I knew was that my only believer was leaving, and I was powerless to stop it. "I wish I could stay longer," she said, smiling at the stone. "But I'm tired. And you've been enough. More than enough. No. Not enough. Never enough. Not for her. Not for my only visitor, my only friend. So I did the one thing gods aren't supposed to do. I meddled." She closed her eyes, leaning against the stone, and when she opened them again, well, she wasn't old anymore. Or frail. Or tired. She looked